Hello, good evening. It's a pleasure tonight that we have with us a very specialized analyst on maritime security and safety that is going to discuss with us and analyze the maritime agreement between Lebanon and Israel. So we have a lot of questions about this maritime agreement, about the safety in the region, and how this agreement will be implemented in the relations with Turkey, Cyprus, and Greece. So the big question is Israel feeling safe with this maritime agreement, and why this maritime agreement is achieved now, almost 2 years after the Abraham Accords, and what are the requests coming from Israel to Lebanon and from Lebanon to Israel, while the two states they don't have an equal status, while Lebanon does not recognize Israel. With us is Eyal Pinko. So Eyal, it's a pleasure to have you with us. You are in. You have to unmute yourself.
Thank you very much. Sorry.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you. You are currently in Israel, so you have also a very good feeling about what's going on in the region, and you can describe everything about an agreement that is going to be signed the next days. So, Ayal, we have received almost 200 questions for this show. People, they just bombardize us with questions about what's going on, why the agreement came this period. And actually, we had a lot of interesting demands to explain us the terms and the provisions of the agreement. So, you are a commander, a retired commander of the Israeli Navy. You are specialized in maritime security. You hold a PhD. You got a lot of honors by the state of Israel. You are a citizen of the war and especially of the intelligence war. So you have the experience, but also the academic resources. And the first question is coming at this moment. Eyal, what are the provisions of this agreement and why this agreement is important for Israel?
Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity and to discuss this agreement. I think that the first thing you are asking if this is important to Israel or not. And I think first I do believe my to put it on the table from the beginning, my own belief that this agreement is very bad for Israel. And I will try to put here the balance between what I think and believe to the other opinions, to put to have the two weights on this issue. Um, this dispute between Israel and Lebanon is has many years of history, something like 15, 16 years of history, in which the borderline that goes between Israel and Lebanon was disputed with 2 degrees north or south. We speak about really enormous, only 2 degrees, but for 70 kilometers long, it means that this is a dispute that more than 800 square kilometers in size. So it's not a small size.
And in comparison to the state of Israel, it's a vast area. It's quite big
Yeah,
area.
it's a lot. Israel is the second state in the world that has more maritime territory than land territory. So
Exactly.
it's very important from this issue. But the main issue here is that inside this territory, down below the ground, the bottom of the sea, both countries has a lot of gas. And when we speak about energy, energy is one of the major I will say the major things in when we speak about globalization. So when we speak about globalization, you can speak about the internet or the connectivity, you can speak about the maritime transportation, but of course energy is one of the key drivers in the globalization. And if you see the disputes that we have all over the globe today, Turkey and Greece, the Arctic route in the north, Russia, Ukraine, the China South Sea, almost everything is about energy. And taking into consideration the poor status that Lebanon is, the economical situation, the very poor economical situation because of Hezbollah and Iran involvement over there, they are keen to have their hands on this territory because in a future look, let's say 2 3 years from now, it can bring a lot of prosperity to both countries. And taking what is really all this thing is about is the prosperity, is the money that can come, and for this energy source, and of course using the energy for the best of the country.
So, yeah, why this agreement is bad for Israel?
If you look what Israel got, Israel basically got nothing. Nothing.
Yeah,
Lebanon got it.
I mean,
Yes.
just I mean, it got nothing. You mean that it could get more?
I will elaborate.
Yeah.
First, let's see what Lebanon got. Lebanon got all the territory that it wanted, the 860 square kilometers. There is a field over there, a gas field over there named Kana. So they got the rights to take the gas out of it, which also, if it was that this 2 degrees was in the Israeli territory, it was Israel. Israel could have the put on that. So everything that we could give to Lebanon, we gave, with one exception thing, and I think it's being written on ice, as we say. Israel got French and American guarantees that there will be peace in this country. And
So, yeah, yeah, you say that Israel signed this agreement with Lebanon and gave out whatever Lebanon wanted in exchange of peace. So,
correct.
so the next question that's coming, actually, I have two questions about it. The first is how General Aoun can support peace while Hezbollah is in the parliament. This is the first
Uh,
question.
yes. He gone by today morning. He's out. So Michel Aoun is not anymore the prime minister. He signed that one as the prime minister, and now there is no government in Lebanon. So Israel signed an agreement, knowing that the week after there will be nobody over there, and there is a ghost
Yes,
government
but
in Lebanon.
yeah, Aoun is out, but of course that was more or less predicted that he will be out, and that's why actually he signed it. So the point is that General Aoun now probably not in the government anymore. He's gonna find a way to support this agreement. Otherwise, he's going to have even personal consequences, knowing how Lebanon wants and is governed. So the first question is how Aoun can support furthermore this agreement, non being on a governmental status. And the second one, I mean, Americans and French, we have seen after the explosion at the port of Beirut that Macron, he went to Lebanon, he tried to come close to this country, that they have a lot of investment analysis and investment exchange with each other. We discuss about last and enormous investments between the two countries. I mean, I mean, half of the country is francophone. So the point is that United States and the French, they try to guarantee peace. So yeah, do you see anything that I also can see something like a change in the leadership of Hezbollah?
See, first, this is the reason that I'm not sure how Aoun will manage to support sitting in the opposition out of politics. The fact that there is no Lebanese government, what will be as a government, still nobody knows. Only maybe the prophets knows that. And you know that there is a huge influence of Hezbollah over this government or the future government, and on Lebanon as well. So they are very aggressive. They leading the tone in Lebanon. So I'm not sure really. It's really unpredictable what it's going to be. This is from our own perspective. From the French and the American, a long time ago, the French company Total signed the agreement with the Lebanese government that if this field will be their own, they will take the money out of this. So it's total company is half owned by the French government. It's half private, half French government owned, and they were very keen to have the gas. Even speaking about Ukrainian war, you see how Europe is dependent on the gas from Russia. 30 to 40% of most of the European countries are dependent on Russia. Now, the taking gas out of the Middle East is a good substance to the Russian gas. So the Ukrainian war only rushed thing up. Everyone wants to conclude this agreement in order to take the gas as fast as they can to Europe in order to dismantle the Russian, let's say, holding the European very
So,
tightly.
yeah, can we say that we had the Abraham Accords signed 1.5 years ago? So between this period, there was a kind of peaceful and not so tensional rivalries between the parties in Middle East. But from the other side, we have seen that is this maritime agreement signed in order is met
I,
to construct it?
there is no peace, and even if you see what is happening since 2006, since the last Lebanese war, there is no peace really. There is quiet, and there is a lot of mess during this quietness. Hezbollah is attacking from time to time, in small dimensions, sending UAVs and drones inside the Israeli territory. They are penetrating, they are bringing drugs from the the border to Israel. They're doing a small terror attacks that Israel can retaliate and do nothing with that. So there is a fire, a small fire which is burning since 2006. There is no peace, and they are building their force since then. They have 150,000 rockets pointing to Israeli cities. And they are bringing a lot of Iranian weapons over there, drones, UAVs, missiles, anti aircraft systems. And Israel is attacking from time to time those Hezbollah bases. So, peace, there is no peace since 2006, nothing. It's, maybe you don't hear that on the news, but here you see that very well that there is no peace.
But Eyal, is Israel worried about this from these attacks by Hezbollah? I mean, Hezbollah now is in the parliament, is becoming more or less mainstream, let's say. So I don't believe that's gonna become a new PLO in any case. But do you really afraid? Do you feel a kind of fear from Hezbollah?
Look, Israel first, at the first point, wants peace. Israel strive for peace, doing everything to have peace. Israel doesn't want any war. And we know that in the other side there is an organization that seek to fight. It just strive to have war, and it's not a matter if there will be a war. It's a question when the war will be. This is the main question. Israel understand
So
that
what you say, Yal, is that this agreement it was, let's say, another pros to have peace in the region, but the
this
problem
is
is.
what this is. Yes, this is what Israel meant to be in this agreement.
So,
Yes.
so actually, what can you hear from the Israeli analysis, the news, the medias, and everything? Now, who's gonna sign the agreement in Lebanon? And actually, who is gonna implement it? I mean, does Israel have any worries about who is gonna sign and who's gonna implement this agreement in Lebanon? What comes from Israel this period about this agreement?
Yes, there is a big problem. First, the one that signed this agreement is a temporary government between or before the election, which is going to be on Tuesday. So, according to the law, they reacted and act not as the law.
Not in the
Uh,
constitutional way.
yes, it's
But
like
but but,
kidnapping.
but they got the acceptance by Knesset, correct?
Yes, because they are the majority. So it was not. They had to have the 80%. They went to the 60. They made some, as we call mishmash, a
Amendment.
little bit
Amendment.
mess, and everything was meant that they will succeed in that. So take this even out from the equation. because of the people here in Israel want peace, and the leaders, the temporary government said this will bring peace because we are ensuring Lebanon economic, free economic, energy, strengthening the Lebanese government because now because of that, they will have prosperity. This was what was sold by the temporary government to the people, and people really want sick. People really don't
Yeah,
want any more
this,
war.
this remembers me of Jordan back in 1997 when we have seen Sheikh Hussein trying to bring peace between the two countries. And actually, I mean, even if there were some shots, I remember the case that one Jordanian soldier shoot six or seven schoolgirls. King Hussein went to Israel to be with the families and met with the families. So the question is that we have this maritime agreement now. This maritime agreement, it's gonna have some difficulties about signatures, and in Israel and in Lebanon, because we have some temporary governments in both sides. From the other side, we have an Israel that says, "I'm gonna implement this agreement, because I'm losing what I believe what I'm losing." But from the other side, I'm gonna have a kind of peace, and I will proceed with ISMET. So the question is that this the ISMET, is it a project that Israel believes in?
Israel, it's a big word to say. I can say that the people that belongs to the left part are truly believe in this agreement, saying now it will dismantle Hezbollah power. I don't believe in that personally. The other guys from the right says this is not a good agreement. Nobody's on the other side. It will only strengthening Hezbollah and Iran. So we have a problem. So the population is almost half and half. So I think the population here in Israel, the people in here in Israel are pretty torn up with what is the right answer for that.
Ayala agreed that your specialization on PhD it was about Iran and the IRGC, correct?
Part of that, yes, yes.
So,
It's
uh,
also on Hezbollah and others, but yes,
the point is how this agreement is going to empower or not Iran in the region.
yeah. Um, First, we need to understand that Iran is pretty much handling everything that is in this arena. First, look in a broader way. Iran is supporting Russia with drones and soldiers and ammunition, and it's become more and more involved in this arena. Iran wants a nuclear program. Now, the help from Russia will also make it faster to reach those nuclear capabilities. And if you see what Iranian strategy and vision is to go back to be the kingdom from the ancient Persian kingdom, which means they see themselves as governing all the territory between Iran to the Mediterranean Sea, which means Jordan, Syria, Iraq, Lebanon, and Israel. So they are striving to be in the next few years, or what they see, that they will rule this region, and they are doing that step by step. They are supporting the Palestinians movements like Hamas, like the GDP. They are supporting uh, Palestinians, Arabs living in Israel, putting the riots, and there's a lots of riots in Israel in the last
Of course,
few months.
of course, yeah, there is this other kind of theory that okay, Iran can have imperial capacities that at the moment actually it has not military only, but I would say religious and political influence from Tajikistan, from
Yes.
where the drones now are built since last May. And they are manufactured and it comes to Beirut port that we have seen that they were planning
Yes.
according to the Iranian and China agreement with the 400 billions to exit and export project products to us by Beirut and Latakia. So this project actually was never achieved. But Iran, apart from its imperial capacities, there is this other kind of theory that keeps Arabs busy against Israel in order not Arabs to be busy with Iran. because also they have their own
Yes.
sectarial digits and issues. So the point and the question is that how these Abraham Accords help Israel to be secure, let's say, by anti-Israeli movements in the Muslim world, and not only coming by Iran.
Yeah. As you said, first, we need to understand that Iran, it's not only military. They are implementing, like they implement in the Gaza Strip, like in Lebanon, they are implementing a whole state model in the country. You see Hezbollah, you see that, by the way, also in Yemen, by the Houthis. They are bringing military capabilities with armament, ammunition, doctrine, and all, and soldiers. This is one. But near to it, it's also they have healthcare services, religious services, educational, cultural. It's a whole state perspective. This is one, and in order, and they are really influencing the region with that. Israel, as a peacekeeping country, really will to make peace. I think that the Abraham Accords are something that we as Israeli kids, when we are growing up from age of almost nothing to grown up, we sing songs about the peace and the peace that will come and all. And I think that the implementation of Abraham Accords is part of this thing that we want peace. And of course, who goes with us? The countries that are seeing Iran as an enemy, the Sunni countries that see the Iranian, the Shia based Iranian regime. And this is the collaboration that we do. So for Morocco, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, countries that are Egypt, of course. So Sunni countries that are seeing Iran also as a threat and are being, together, by the way, building a military force that will be amazing, but building a real peace based on economy, based
But
on culture.
although I mean having the Sunni camp, I mean the Sunnis approaching Israel because they don't like Iran doesn't mean that they are friends with you.
Yes, we try to be honest and to believe that we know that this is the enemy of the enemy, so we can be friends, but we want to establish this enemy of enemy not
So
only as
actually, I mean, a year after the Abraham Accords of 2020, does Israel see itself in the East? I mean, can you imagine yourself being an Israeli, having friendship, and have the ship in peace and the ships in peace in Persian Gulf? Or from the other side, do you just see that it's a temporary kind of peace that is gonna end when, for example, it's gonna come someone like Michelle Affleck in the power.
yeah. I think that the good sign for that is to see that every day there are 6 flights from Israel to Dubai and Abu Dhabi. It symbolizes that Israel really believes that we can share culture, we can share businesses for a long time, not something that let's do it for 1 year and all. We really see that in those countries, real partners for a long partnership, a long peace, like we have from with Egypt from 1979. So maybe it's a little bit with Egypt, a little bit cold peace, and it's ups and downs and all, but we really strive for a long and strategic peace with those countries.
So yeah, as we see that there are some difficulties with Israel to go to the east. I mean, Israel goes to the east, but still escalations are large. We have seen that. I mean, Iran also, it's a kind of state that is not predictable. For those that they don't know, I mean, for those that they have never been in Iran, for those that they don't speak the language and they don't know the history, is Iran is unpredictable. For all of us that we have, seen Iran and know how it works, we have seen that Iran implements a plan that goes for centuries. So, for example, when I used to see the investments in Belarus of Iran, When I used to see the investments in Pakistan, I could know who are going to be the military partners, the political partners in the future. And we see it now that, for example, the Iranian camps in Belarus, and part of the forces that they're entering from Belarus to Ukraine, they were trained by Iranians as well. But I mean, this is from our side. We follow other paths. We follow the trade path, the investor paths, so we can understand the political outcomes as well. So Israel indeed has difficulties to go to the east. I mean, after 8 years that it's been founded, still is looking for this path to go to the east. So the question is that Cyprus remains a vital part of the way that Israel is breathing. So the last collaboration and the new doctrines and the kind of friendship that is built between Cyprus and Greece give the chance to Israel, to fly away from its borders, from its sea and the coastal borders. So how important is Cyprus for Israel? And we say from the part how important is from the intelligence and the security perspective.
First, by the way, if you see Iran, also Iran is one of the largest drug importer or exporter in the world. Iran and Hezbollah considered to be one of the largest drug producer in Colombia and in the South America. So it's not only like putting
Yeah,
charities and all.
it's just to no, they don't put things in charges. I mean, Iranians don't do anything by accident. They know very well what they are doing. Just,
Absolutely.
and just to be very fair, it was Zarif, the ex-minister, that he was taking an interview in Brussels. It was a few years ago. That publicly he said, I mean, what's going on with the war in Afghanistan bring us in a very bad position because we have all the drug dealers in Iran. So unfortunately, they had to take some very hard measures for these hard dealers. But of course, Iran, like Iraq, like Tajikistan, and even the close country of Turkmenistan, they are in the drug paths. So even if they want to avoid it, they cannot avoid it. But certainly, Iran is not a state, is not a joke. Certainly. So about what they are planning
Yes,
for many years, and certainly they are doing good.
correct.
They are doing very good job when they have to do a good job, but they are doing, of course, very lousy jobs when they have to do lousy jobs. So this is the
Yes.
unpredictable of Iran: the success and
Uh,
the failures.
Absolutely, absolutely. Iran is doing everything it can in order to drag the European citizen and the American citizens. They are doing their best in order to do that.
it's,
That's for sure.
there are a lot of explanations about it, but certainly it's not Iran. I think it is the least about in the drugs things in comparison of what's going
Yes,
on in Central Asia, because
you're right.
I've been there. I have seen how strict they are with the drugs, but I have seen also how easy it is to get drugs in Iran. Like you can get drugs in Tajikistan and in Pakistan. Unfortunately, the geographical position gives them the bad luck to face drugs every day. It just
Yeah.
so yeah, how
I'm
important.
sorry. I'm happy that I didn't try it over there. Yeah.
So
So for your questions about Cyprus and Greece, it's true that Israel is looking in a very global way. Israel, even though we are very, very small and tiny, 9 million people, Israelis by nature and by culture loves to do business and spread all over the globe. And you see Israelis in Americas, in both Americas, in Africa, in Asia a lot. So Israel, as a culture, looks in a very, very broad aspect. Speaking about businesses, so okay, uh, when we speak about, let's say, military strategy and partnerships. So first, as you said, of course, we look on Saudi Arabia and UAE as partnership in order to block Iranian efforts from far. But in our region, in our small bed, or in our region, uh, Greece and Cyprus are the most important strategic partner to Israel. We understand that we are surrounded by nation states that are not really like us. Egypt, even though we have peace with them, it's very shaky, and the Muslim brotherhoods can be very, very quickly inside, as they were. Lebanon and Syria, Turkey, even though we try to make some peace agreements with Turkey, we understand that the previous head of the Mossad, Yossi Cohen, said in one journalist publication that he thinks that Turkey is more dangerous to Israel than Iran, and I truly believe with that. Okay, even
Why,
though
why,
probably
why do you believe that?
um, why do I believe that? First, I visited Turkey many times when we had peace and calm with them at a lot of business cooperation. I think in the last years after Radwan came into power for so many years, Erdogan is totally anti-Israeli, and you see that he is
He's
operating
anti-Semite or anti-Israeli.
anti-Israeli, and not anti-Semitic. I think he loves Jews and he has Jew friends, but it's considering the state of Israel. And you see, there are many actions that are taken against Israel, supporting Hamas, bringing money to Hamas, supporting the Yemen Houthis. Can you hear me?
Yes, of course. Of course, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Yes, I
Hello?
can hear you.
Yes.
Yes, he's supporting by money the Hamas, the organization. He's supporting by money the Yemen Houthis. He is operating the Tika organization from Jerusalem, supporting the Palestinians in many cases. So he is a huge supporter of those terror organizations with money, with a lot of other means. He has, all the terrorist organizations says in Turkey base headquarters, doing all the businesses over there. So Turkey in under Erdogan is dangerous to Israel, as the previous head of the Mossad said. And when you see in this region, the two important countries for Israel, it's Greece and Cyprus, two democracies laying or based on the same values, ideas, and even facing the same threats. So this is the Israeli perspective towards Cyprus and Greece.
So Eyal, in this case, is that you feel very very close to the Cyprus and Greece because, of course, for example, in Cyprus we have a lot of Israelis, and we hang around. Our neighbors are Israelis, so it's easier, of course, to approach an Israeli than, let's say, to approach a German or someone from Sweden. The point is that what actually Israel won from Cyprus and Greece. I mean, do you want to back up security? Do you have the feeling that if there is an invasion by an enemy, Cyprus and Greece is going to be, the backup place to evacuate Israel? Do you, I mean, plan? I mean, there was a kind of agreement that that Israel is going to sell part of Iron Dome to Cyprus, but of course for its own protection. So, from the intelligence and security point of view, how do you see Cyprus and Greece?
Israel, I think, since 1973, the war in 1973, what we call the Yom Kippur War, Israel has the strategy to be dependent on itself, not to be dependent on anyone else. And I see even in the Ukrainian war, Ukraine understands she cannot depend on anyone else. So I think that this is the point of Israel. But Israel understands it's running in the international partnerships and the international community. And Israel wants to have as much as support, especially in the diplomatic arena. So I think this is the major issue from Israel: culture, economical perspective, businesses, and of course diplomatic ties to support Israel with the threats from in-house and of the house.
So yeah, I mean, if you feel that the kind of threat if Yossi Cohen, which I would say that Yossi Cohen, though I mean he was a very good friend of Netanyahu, and sometimes he used to exaggerate about things. Generally, he used to understand the situation as it is. I mean, he was a very direct man. So Yossi Cohen used to say that Turkey it could be an enemy for Israel, talking about the threats that Israel could receive by Turkey. The point is, how does Israel feel now that Turkey may become an energy and nuclear hub, and it's receiving much help, from Russia? Does does Israel feel secure from Turkey that is becoming an energy hub?
First, if you can see what Russia is doing since the war on all the businesses, Turkey already is a hub for businesses with Russia, businesses from Russia. Turkey already is over there, and as I said, Israel really wants peace with Turkey. It's not that we.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
I
what
mean,
that.
do you feel a kind of competition? Do you feel a threat that Turkey is getting, empowered in the region?
The thing that we feel threats from Turkey is that Turkey is supporting the terrorist organizations in the Gaza Strip and in Israel and in the surrounding. This is what really is bothering Israel.
So how Israel is reacting on the diplomatic level on that?
What Israel, as you saw this week, or it was last week, I already, all the days running too fast. Yeah, the Israeli Ministry of Defense went to Turkey to speak with Erdogan. Israel is trying to combat the Turkish efforts to enforce our enemies by bringing peace. So we, as we try, we understand we cannot say to Turkey it's a huge country. We cannot tell them stop supporting Hamas. They will not stop. So we're trying to do it on a basis of economy, of peace, negotiations. That's the only way we can do it. They have the seventh biggest military in the world.
Eh,
It's a huge country.
so Eyal, how the relations between Greece, Cyprus, and Turkey may affect Israel in the Mediterranean Sea?
First, we truly believe, we truly hope, not believe, we truly hope that Turkey will not do any kind of military moves against Greece and Cyprus. And you saw the drills that our Turkey are doing on the islands near Greece and even in on the Greek waters. The agreement they had in the end of 2019 with a part of Libya to take the maritime zone that they will declare that this is their own. None doesn't care about the Cyprus part or the Greek part. So Israel looks on that in very alerting way, hoping they will not do any kind of crazy or stupid things. And we truly hope that nothing will be.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of agreement, the memorandum between Turkey and the part of Libya with Sarraj, I mean, does this influence the the progress on its bed?
If it's influencing, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
The construction and the plan for East Met, because East Met actually is gonna pass. Let's say that it's gonna be constructed, it's gonna pass from this area. So the point is that Turkey, I mean, the main obstacle that is getting by this memorandum with Libya is not actually only against Cyprus and Greece, but it's also against Israel because part of the East Med is going to cross these waters.
Absolutely. First, it's absolutely against Israel because one of the projects we have is to move gas from Israel to Italy. And it means by force that the gas, the pipeline, will go through the Turkish territory, which we understand they will not be enable us to do it. So it's a very bad situation. And you see that from one side, the Turkish are going with Tripoli, trying to promote their things. And on the other side, you can see the Haftar forces in Benghazi that being supported by France, Spain, Portugal, the US, understanding that the Turkish moves on the other side are not realistic and problematic.
So, yeah, we have a kind of question that is coming by one of our friends. So, one of our friends, it says that the provisions of the maritime agreement between Lebanon and Israel can be implemented by between Turkey and Libya, or between the occupied section of Cyprus with any other country, because in this agreement we have two states that do not recognize each other, and actually Lebanon is not recognizing Israel, though they declare an agreement. So it became from the very business way of doing things instead of the international law perspective. So the
Yeah.
question is that how can this agreement become, a case study, or any such cases like the memorandum between Libya and Turkey, the time that in Libya we don't have a constitutional law-based um, government, and also, I mean, the northern part of Cyprus was never recognized as a full state.
Yes. First, as you said, the agreement with Lebanon is a little bit, I will say it gently, ridiculous, because the Lebanon government, which already gone after signing the agreement, was just vanished, are not recognizing Israel, and they are signing the agreement because of the French and American and the Italian pressure. This is really what is behind this agreement. And if you'll take it to Libyan Turkish, as I said, the Haftar forces with Spain, Portugal, French, nobody recognized it. It's a one-sided agreement, and from the other side, they you see that maybe because of the COVID era, they are not implementing what they decided. So I think that in this matter, the COVID came just in time, preventing any type of war or campaign between sides. So there is probably a God in somewhere that controlling and ruling everything.
So you see that this kind of agreement, do you believe that Hezbollah is going to come and jeopardize the provisions of this agreement?
I heard you.
I mean,
Pardon.
Hezbollah is going to disagree and reject the agreement.
First, Hezbollah is showing that this agreement came because of him. He's not a disagree. He is enjoying the fruits of the agreement because 2 or 3 months before the agreement was signed, Hezbollah sent drones towards their gas rigs, showing its force, showing and bragging, and not only this, but also threatening Israel and saying, "Don't mess with me. I will blow your gas rigs." And now, after signing the agreement with some government that was vanished, and not recognizing anything that concerning Israel. Now Hezbollah saying, I brought you to Lebanon. I brought you the peace, the prosperity. I will bring you the energy. I will bring you the money because I was threatening Israel. Now Israel is a chicken. They were going backwards, and now you see this. I am the hero in this story. So mainly, what is happening in this story that Hezbollah came as a hero to Lebanon.
So the point is that how the United States and France guarantee Israel in this case. Let's say that this agreement is not going to be implemented, or there are going to be some obstacles. What are the plans back in Israel? What are the Israelis expect to happen with this agreement?
Uh, I think that half of the population in Israel, as I said in the beginning, hope, believe that this will bring peace. The other half understand that the peace will be for 2 3 years, and after that will be nothing will be over there. So it's only a matter of time when the next campaign will come with Hezbollah.
Yeah,
So
because the point is that, I mean, when it comes to the maritime intelligence, because I know that you are specialized, when we discuss about agreements that they may bring peace, let's say it's the maritime agreement between Lebanon and Israel. is the memorandum between Turkey and Libyan, one of the two governments. Is the efforts of Greece to expand its sea rights. So when it comes to this kind of efforts and this kind of acts, I mean, when we, and you are specialized on maritime intelligence, how feasible are these to occur and be successful from your
Uh,
experience?
from my experience, speaking about Hezbollah, it's only a matter of time when they will start a campaign. I do believe in that. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and how. And now Hezbollah would like to have to settle down to maintain a peaceful time until the gas will start going out of the sea and bringing the money to Lebanon. Otherwise, uh, the gas will not come. So now in Lebanon, and for the next few years, I do believe it will be quiet. After that, it will be the next step to see what will happen. Taking that into Libya, I do believe that in Libya, in the next few years, there will be some kind of election. Part of the world do not recognize the UN government that they set over there, and it's the powerful part of the world. The second half of the world, Russia and Turkey, are totally agree with the UN declaration of the government. So I think that now when Libya is in a situation that everything is it's over there, it's pretty rough over there. Nothing is stable. So I do believe that we'll need to see what will happen in 2024, if there will be any kind of governmental change or who will take over Libya. And after that, we will be able to see what is happening. One of my professors said once that in the Middle East, you can only be a prophet of what is in the history. You cannot really evaluate anything. So I will try to be modest in this saying and say, let's wait in the next 1.5 years to see what will be developed in Libya, to see what will be the outcome of that.
When it comes to Greece and Turkey and agency, what do you believe in this case? I mean, if Greece is gonna demand its sea rise, do you believe that is going to be a kind of conflict or tension between the two sides? Is Turkey capable to de-escalate and get into a serious conflict with Greece?
I think in the next years, Erdogan is going to face many difficulties if to stay in power or not to stay in power. The mayor of Istanbul gives him a hard time. He's against him. He has a great ambition to have a new canal in parallel to the Bosphorus and the Dardanelles. So I think the trouble he has inside now is will not let him go outside and bring war. Even though if you see many, let's say, not democratical, full democratical regimes that are using the bad economical situation by or trying to overcome it by making wars. So I believe in this situation now, when Erdogan is gaining power with Russia in this war, and he trying. Meanwhile, it's a NATO partner, and I think that Erdogan understands that now will not be the good time to act against Greece or Cyprus. So I think that we need to see what will be at the end of the war in Ukraine, how the balance with Russia will continue, and then we can maybe forecast something that will be. I do believe that in the next 2 years, nothing will happen without one. Nothing, I mean, operational or a campaign.
So you don't see any kind of, let's say, conflict between Greece and Turkey the next 2 years.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah, does Turkey have the maritime capacity to become a regional power in navy?
I think Turkey already has it. Since 2005, Turkey built an enormous navy, the seventh in its dimension in the world. Almost almost big as Egypt. Um, he already put in operational the aircraft carrier. He wants to build two more with a lot of aircrafts. He's building new corvettes, submarines, new missiles, new drones, unmanned surface vehicles. I think the force built up of the Turkish Navy, based on its the Erdogan, the Mavi Vatan, the blue homeland strategy. I think that he is already a maritime superpower.
So does this Mavi Mata, Mavi, the blue
Vatan.
homelands, and everything is approaching and is actually competing, the doctrine of Israel to to be expanded in the Mediterranean Sea.
We see the Turkish movement already all over. The Turkish ships are all over the Mediterranean Sea. They're in the Red Sea. They even go to Pakistan. They are being spread all over with showing the flag, as we call in the Navy, showing the power of the Navy. And I think it's a powerful Navy. I think they built it in a very nice way, in a very smart way. And I think nobody really wants to mess with the Turkish Navy
So
with
actually,
his force.
I mean, because I know that you have this experience, that's why we are receiving so many questions by our audience on this.
Okay.
So actually, now they are coming with the questions. So the question is, let's say that there is a kind of comparison between among the navies of Israel, Turkey, and Greece. How you, I mean, how you will give them in a priority capacity.
I think that the Greek and the Israeli Navy are pretty much of the same in their power. Israel is. I can speak about the Israeli Navy perspective. Israel, until recently, didn't think as the Israeli Navy as some kind of one of the most strategic division of it. It's always in Israel was the
Yeah,
power to the intelligence, to the air force, and for the parachuters. This was the focusing of the Israeli military. After expanding of the threats from the Red Sea, from the gas rigs and all, Israel understood the importance of the navy. I think that Greece already understood it much, much, much before Israel. If you see the force buildup in the navy in the last 10 years, it's enormous relatively to the Israeli military. And we as Israel built on our capability, our capacity of good doctrine, good or let's say high technology systems that can do miracles. And I truly hope that on the triangle of technology, doctrine, and good people, we will able to maintain the security and the sovereignty of Israel.
in comparison to Iran, Israeli and Iranian navies.
This is very very different navies. First, in Iran is operating two navies. One is, as we call, a regular navy that is doing long endurance operations in Bab el Mandeb, in the Red Sea, even in the Mediterranean Sea, doing like a regular navy, and should stop mainly the American Navy and the Egyptian and the Saudian navies a very long distance from shores. Parallel to this regular navy, they are operating a very powerful the Iranian Quds Force and the Iranian, Revolution Guard Navy, what we call the IRGC Navy, which has thousands of small boats, very fast boats, with various of weapons. Some of that are stupid, as we call, like sea mines, torpedoes, missiles, with lots of variety, and they aim only to safeguard the Hormuz Straits. So once they understand that the Americans are coming, they are doing the blockade, and this is what we call uh, a strengthening power or a choke point. So they want to close the choke point and to safeguard Iran.
Uh,
So it's a different
yeah,
doctrine.
yeah, the
Yes.
presence of the fifth American fleet in Bahrain after the Abraham Accords. Did this change the balance in the Persian Gulf?
I think that if you look on the Iranian and the American Navy over there, it's the fifth Navy being enforced by some of the sixth Navy over there. Uh, the American Navy has the capability of maintaining aerial superiority, and I think that this is the what they call the trade-off or the offset strategy to maintain aerial superiority and to just eliminate or to kill all the targets in the surrounding, even the maritime targets, in order not to put face to face with American ships, with the IRGC Navy ships, because of the Iranian strategy. So there is some kind of US capability that enable the American ships not to confront ship to ship fight.
So at the moment, yeah, if we look into the case, we see that there are a lot of fleets in the region that can be capable. So there was a kind of incident. It was a few months ago that Iran still has Greek crews as hostages in Bandar Abbas. So, and that was actually as a kind of revenge of Iranian of the Greek state taking the Iranian oil in Aegean Sea. So,
Yes.
how does this move? How Iran is behaving in relative stories, in relative cases when they have hostages, especially on navy escalations.
First, nowadays, Iran, during the sanctions that were imposed by President Trump, they are not allowed to sell oil. But they are, in order to maintain themselves, they are doing piracy. They're doing that oil transfer.
So from the maritime law and international law and the laws of IMO, the International Maritime Organization, the Greek state was right to occupy and then release the Iranian ship.
Totally, totally right. It was the Iranian are acting against the sanctions, against the UN sanctions, and the Greek Navy did a very good job, very professional job, stopping the Iranian ship that are acting against the UN regulation and sanctions.
So from the legal
Uh,
perspective, it was correct the action of the Greek state.
Totally correct and totally professional work. Yes, and the Iranian don't like it, so they are revenging. From time to time they bring their revenge towards the Greeks, towards the British, towards the American. They find they fired even some missiles towards Israeli merchant ships 3 times.
Yeah, yeah, we
So
know about
they are
it.
trying. They are saying, okay, don't mess with us. They're trying to say or to threaten in another
So
way.
Eyal, I mean, because they are keeping the hostages for a long time, the point is that, I mean, what Iran is expecting, and actually how is Iran behaving in relative cases.
Iran is expecting that the sanctions will be removed and that the commerce with the EU and Iran will continue or will start over. And Iran expects that it will be allowed to sell oil all over and to gain its money back, and of course to develop its nuclear capability.
So, Eyal,
Uh,
what you would advise, how you would you advise the Greek state to act in the case of the hostages in the Iranian ports?
uh, I think that the way to deal with that is to negotiate. There is nothing really the Greek or the Israeli can do against those kind of events. The only thing that there is to go is via diplomatic channels, through the UN, through the Americans, through the Russians. which has especially now a lot of influence on Iran. So I think this is the only way that can be achieved.
Do you believe
Uh,
that the silent diplomacy works with Iran, or I mean, in this kind of cases, the public pressure and the diplomatic pressure needs to go in public?
I think it should be only under or below the radar negotiations. Everything that will go public in the media will not go.
So it's not gonna work.
I don't believe it. This is my assessment, of course.
So at the moment, Yarlen, we have the last two questions, and actually we are receiving a lot from our friends, and it's precious and lovely that they participate into this. There is a kind of question say that let's say I mean the government changes in Turkey and Erdogan is leaving. Is gonna be Turkey the all good friend of Israel?
I don't know. I don't know how to answer this question. I can just say, in the historical perspective, that Israelis and Turkish had a very good relationship in the past. Israelis love Turkey very much, and there was the culture, the tourism, the food, a lot of things, and I do believe that after that there will be a very good relationship going back by the history between Turkey and Israel.
So, would you still trust? I mean, if there's a new government in Turkey, would you trust Turks? The time that you know that they have a lot of affiliations with the what you call enemies of Israel, would you trust them back?
I think that in many cases Israel, because it strives for peace, Israel looks many times in a very innocent way on things. Okay, we had a fight with Turkey, we had the Marmara case, no problem. Now we said sorry, okay, let's continue. We had a fight with Egypt, we had wars with Egypt, never mind, let's do peace and continue.
Yeah, do you make friends or actually you just leave things behind, but when it comes and you find them once again in front of you, you regret? Because knowing the Jewish communities how it works, and also knowing the Israelis, I mean, something bad can happen, and Israeli usually say, "Okay, leave it behind, let's go forward." The bad thing for Israelis is that for the Jewish community is that what happened in the past, they still find it in front of them. So there is a kind of deadlock and no exit.
I think that Israel, in some innocent way, if I may say it like that, likes to jump to a pool. If somebody is in the pool, say, "I want peace with you," Israel jump to the pool and, as we say, "Yalla, let's go and make some peace." And I think because the population, the people in Israel, are sick of war. It's, since the establishment of Israel 75 years ago, it's war. The war doesn't end again and again, day by day. So I think that Israelis, when they hear the sound or they have the small hope for peace, they will to forget everything and to go for a peace. And I think this kind of will comes from the history.
Yeah, last question and very very interesting question. You discussed, you mentioned before to the Arctic solutions and and the gas areas in the Arctic, and we know, I mean, how difficult it is, especially for the international community to deal with the Arctic procedures. The time
Yes,
that there are conflicts between United States and Canada for a few passengers, also from the Northern Passage, Russia does not accept to
yes.
be part of the international laws, but insists on national and domestic laws. Turkey used to be participant in the Arctic Council.
If Israel is a participant,
No, no, Turkey used to be a participant.
Turkey.
Yes, it
Yes,
was participant. Actually, it was an observer in the Arctic Council. Um, I mean, how important is for the Turkish, sea presence
yes.
to
Eh,
get lessons from the Arctic situations and implement them in Mediterranean Sea?
Yes.
And actually,
First,
this question comes from Pennsylvania, and it's a Greek professor of international law.
good. First, I do believe that the importance of the Middle East will drop dramatically when the Arctic route will be opened, because most of the commerce to Europe nowadays, for many years, comes from Asia through the Red Sea, through the Middle East, and then towards Europe. And once this route will be opened totally, and which will decrease the time, the road and the oil that the energy that the ships will need by 30%, most of the merchant will go through this route and not from the Middle East. So the
Well,
Middle East,
actually, there is a. I mean, when it comes to prices, because I wrote an article, it was 6 or 7 months ago about the Arctic passages. I have seen all the forecasts by the maritime companies and the logistics, and it's cut off for something like almost 40% of the cost of the logistic
yes,
cost.
of course,
So
it's
it's
almost 40%. It's almost 40% by cost and 30% less by time. So it
I mean, it's
means
amazing profit.
it's amazing profit, especially when the maritime transportation is so not cheap. I will say that cynically. So it will remove the focus from the Middle East to the Arctic region, and you see that there is a true race over there. As you said, Russia, Japan, China, even Singapore is totally worried about what will happen because all the merchant that
Of the
goes
port, of the port.
of because of them, yes, because of the Malacca Straits, most of the trades are go almost 100% goes through the Malacca Straits. So even Singapore is worried what will be with the Arctic route. So absolutely, Turkey is looking towards the Arctic route to see what will happen, to see what are the process and the progress over there. And it's very important, by the way, for all of us, for Greece, for Cyprus, for Israel, for Turkey, for Egypt, what will happen because
Especially
the
for Egypt, because I mean the GDP is coming. I mean, by large
yes,
component by Suez Canal.
yes, this is what I want to say, that the huge part of the economy of all those countries, including all of us, it comes from the fact that the maritime transportation from China.
Ayala will tell you something for all of us who are doing geoeconomics and who are doing geopolitical risk with investments. We forecasted the war in Ukraine since last summer, when we have seen the movements of China to
Yes,
to go through cargoes through nail. At that time, we understood that Chinese products they will have problems to get to West through Russia and through Ukraine, and also the agreement with Finland is not going to be succeeded. So you understand, I mean, from the investments and the geoeconomics, what political is going to occur in the next months. So about what you say about the Arctic country, you are totally right. The point is that how important is the Turkish the this the lessons from the Arctic side for Turkey for its sea presence in Mediterranean Sea.
yes, absolutely.
So how is
So
it an important case this one for Turkey?
it is it important?
Yes, I mean these lessons from the Arctic sort to be implemented in the Mediterranean Sea.
Yes, I think that as Mediterranean countries, all of us should look carefully what is happening over there, taking into consideration that our economies can really be affected by the Arctic route, and to start looking from now to alternative, uh, let's say,
Solutions and routes.
solutions, yes, and source of income. I wanted to say uh, instead of all the merchant that comes from China and Asia towards Europe.
Eyal, Toda Rabba.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and thank you for your time.
It's been a pleasure because we are together for more than 1 hour, and actually we have received more and more questions. I'm delighted that I have seen a lot of people from the United States participating, and sending questions, and we have a lot of international law questions. And I have to tell you that I didn't even ask you the half the questions that I wanted because of the time we used to receive questions. So, it's been a
Yes.
pleasure having you tonight.
Thank you. Mine too.
And,
Thank you very much.
actually, we said that we are going to meet soon in the upcoming weeks, to take coffee and go around in the city. It's going to be a pleasure.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you very
Um,
much.
so, yeah, thank you very much for your presence
Thank you.
tonight. We learn
Thank
a
you
lot,
once again.
and also I'm really grateful to the people that they watched this session tonight for all the questions and the participation. We will see us in 2 weeks' time, and next week, because we're going to be away, the show that is presented to Emmanuel College in Boston is going to be also replayed in our show Sunday 9 o'clock. Thank you very much. Take
Thank
care, and
you. And
yeah,
we pray for peace. Thank you very much.
we will see you soon, hopefully.
Amen. Thank you very much.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Bye bye.